So probably the most surprising thing of the NBA draft was seeing that Serge Ibaka, an effective two-way power forward for the OKC Thunder, was traded away to the Orlando Magic for Victor Oladipo, Ersan Ilyasova, as well as Sabonis, who was the 11th pick in the draft, going to OKC. This was surprising as hell. And the immediate reaction on Twitter and from me was the Thunder just robbed the Orlando Magic, because Victor Oladipo, I made a video like a week ago saying that I think this guy is going to become a 20-point scorer in the NBA. Now, it's probably not going to happen in OKC now because, he's got Durant and Westbrook there, but Oladipo is a very good perimeter defender. He's super athletic, so the combination of him and Westbrook probably becomes the most athletic backcourt in the NBA. Decent from three. I believe he shot about 35% from three last season. So the Thunder, they pretty much got the shooting guard that they need. They got someone who can play defense, like an Andre Robertson, but still be able to be effective from outside, like someone like an Anthony Morrow would be for them. And the thing with Oladipo is, I could see his three-point percentage actually going up with OKC because he's going to get more open shots because the defense has to pay attention to Westbrook, as well as Kevin Durant if he chooses to stay, of course. So I think Oladipo's fit in OKC is going to be awesome. They could run him off the bench if they manage to find like a 3-and-D player, just because, I don't know, he could kind of have the James Harden role for them, not as good as James Harden, of course, but a decent sixth man for them, or they could start him. I think both work. He also maintains their level of athleticism, so I think Oladipo will be fine with OKC. The question is with losing Serge Ibaka, because one of the reasons why the Thunder were so good and almost beat the Golden State Warriors was because of their length. And with guys like Durant and Robertson and Westbrook and Ibaka and Steven Adams, they were an extremely long, very athletic team. They definitely got shorter with this move. And the power forward spot is kind of open because Ersan Ilyasova, he's an effective stretch four, but when it comes to defense, he is not as good as Serge Ibaka. He's not as athletic. So I could really see this move going a couple ways. I think Oladipo's a better player than Ibaka, especially because Ibaka, he really didn't take off like we thought he would. But OKC got shorter, and their inside defense may suffer from this. Now, we did see how good Steven Adams was for them in the playoffs, so it's not like they're just going to be some horrible inside defensive team. They're still probably going to be pretty good there, but if they don't find a decent defensive power forward, that could become a thing because Ersan Ilyasova, he is not the defender that Serge Ibaka is. But at the same time, given that they acquired Oladipo, who I think is really good, a stretch four, and Sabonis, who I believe is a big man, I think OKC got the better of this move, but I think they improved in one area and they potentially got worse in another, if we can be honest. I also think this opens up the opportunity for some interesting lineups for OKC because, as we remember, Dion Waiters was really frickin' good in the playoffs for them, and if he maintains that next season, you could roll with a lineup at times of Westbrook, Waiters, Oladipo, Durant at power forward, and then Steven Adams at center. That could really cause a matchup problem for a lot of teams in the NBA, so I think the potential is really something for OKC with this move, and I like it from their perspective, but I am also skeptical about the hit that they're going to take in terms of inside defense and their length. Now, as far as the Orlando Magic are concerned, I think Serge Ibaka fits in very well next to Nikola Vucevic, who is a post-up player who is primarily just around the rim and is not the best defensive player in the world, so I like Ibaka next to him because, like I mentioned, Ibaka is a very good defender, and he can also stretch from outside. He has a tendency sometimes to take a few too many threes. If he can keep it around 15 feet, I like Ibaka's outside shots a bit more. However, I don't know what happens to Aaron Gordon now because him and Ibaka play the same position, and personally, I think Aaron Gordon has a lot of upside, but you have to imagine Ibaka starts now. Does this mean Aaron Gordon becomes available? I don't know. Also, what the hell are the Magic going to be doing with their wing positions now? Because Evan Fournier is a restricted free agent. Now, he had some moments as a scorer for them last season, but he wasn't able to maintain it. But even then, I think he can be a very good shooter. Then you have Hezonja at small forward, who didn't really have the best opportunity last season to succeed, but I think with the departure of Tobias Harris and I guess Ersan Ilyasova as well, Hezonja is going to have all the room in the world to perform, and I do think he can be a very good player in the NBA, at least as a shooter. But I don't know. Personally, I think Oladipo just has a world of potential, and I think he was ready for a breakout season next year for the Orlando Magic, especially with Hezonja's shooting entering the starting lineup. Well, I would imagine. But now you just traded him away. I don't know. But anyway, that's my opinion on the move. Now, of course, if Durant decides to leave, then, well, they'd be a decent team, but of course they're not a title contender at that point. Anyway, that's going to do it. Shout out to you, and I'm done.